Let's maybe grab all the pieces of the truck here, and we'll just hide unselected to get rid of those blueprints, and we'll start mirroring the pieces over to the other side here. Okay, and it looks like we already deleted the door and the window. Okay, and this headlight here doesn't have the extra bracket piece, so let's get rid of that by deleting it out. And we'll just start cloning the rest of these over. Okay, so let's start with the headlight here. Start by selecting these bolts, as well as this bracket and the actual light. And just to make sure everything stays in position when we flip it over to the other side, I'm actually going to group these. Okay, so let's group it. I'm not going to worry about naming them. Let's leave it group 1, and then we'll go into the top view here, and let's center the pivot point. Okay, and with the button still depressed, let's also zero out the x-axis by right-clicking on the move tool and zeroing out the x, and turning the button off. And I will just do a mirror here as a copy on the x. Okay, we'll just quickly check to see if that's lined up correctly, and it looks like it is. So let's move on to the next piece here, which will be this light post. Okay, so let's grab those bulbs, the plate, get these bolts here as well. Let's go around the back and select these bolts, as well as the 2 brackets and the actual main piece. Alright, and just make sure you don't have anything else selected. Okay, so we'll group this one as well, and flip it over to the other side using the same process. Okay, so center the pivot point and zero out the x-axis, and mirror as a copy on the x. Okay, and just check to make sure that's lined up with the side, and that looks good right there. So let's do this piece here. Grab the pipe and that piece. Just do a group on them, and flip them over. Okay, that looks good. We'll also get the door here. Alright, so let's grab these 2 pieces in here first. Grab the window trim, the actual window, as well as the door. Okay, let's group that one. And mirror it over. Okay, and I believe we still have the mirror grouped here, so let's grab that. Alright, looks like we have all the pieces. So we'll just mirror this one over. Okay, that's good. And we also need to do the exhaust pipe here. Alright, so just grab those 2 elbow pieces, and we also want to make sure we get that cylinder inside this piece, the pipe, and the actual piece here with the holes in it. Okay, we'll group that. And the exact same thing again. Okay, we also need to do the tank. So we'll just grab all the pieces of the gas tank here. Deselect that plane as well as this fender. And just make sure you also get the bolts here, as well as these ones down here on the inside. Okay, and I believe the last piece here that we need to flip over is this window. So let's select the glass there as well as the trim. Okay, so I think that's all the pieces we need to mirror for now. Just check it out and make sure that you got everything. Okay, and underneath here, let's just put a simple box or something in here to fill this void in the middle. Okay, so let's go to left view. Let's unhide all. Okay, and you can kind of see it here on the blueprints where the original one was. Okay, so let's grab a box. Okay, this is just really simple stuff. If you want to do a little bit more of a realistic bottom, you could definitely do that. But just for the sake of the tutorial, I'm just going to do this really quick. Okay, so we'll kind of draw this box out over top of what's on the blueprints, and we'll bring it up high enough to clear the top of the hole for the pipe there in the side. Okay, we'll also give it some thickness. All right, so just bring it up above this mark here. All right, and let's center the pivot point on this one. Okay, we'll zero out the x-axis again so it's in the center. And we'll just adjust the width here. Alright, let's just actually move it over. Alright, so I'm going to move it over so it's just on the inside of that plane we put in the wheel well. Okay, so just behind this piece here. And we'll just take the height up a bit until it gets over to the other side there. Right, about 3 to 6 should be good. So now we'll center the pivot point again, and we'll just zero out the x-axis to make sure it's centered in the middle. And we actually forgot to mirror this piece here over to the other side, this plane. Okay, so let's do that now. Center the pivot point, zero out the x-axis, and just mirror it over as a copy. Okay, and for this box here, let's just maybe throw the blue shader on that one so you can see it. And just make sure that it's not sticking out anywhere on the front here through the sides. Could also probably make it a little bit longer. Just gonna push it up until it's slightly behind the grill here. And that'll fill most of the space underneath the body. Okay, and I think we might actually want to adjust this pipe a little bit more here. Let's just select this, gonna ungroup it. And we'll just grab the actual bottom pipe piece here, and let's drop back down to vertex. Okay, and I'm just gonna select the end verts here, and we're just gonna move this down a little bit more so it's a little closer to the tank. Okay, so I'm just gonna move that down a bit, so we have a little bit more of an angle on it. Okay, and just bring it down until it starts touching the tank, which is right about there. Okay, we can also go into the front view and just pull these verts a little bit more into the inside of the body. Okay, so we don't see the end of that pipe. Okay, so it's going into the box there. And I think we'll just leave it like that. Okay, so let's maybe delete this other one on the other side here off, and we'll re-mirror it over now that we've adjusted it. Alright, so same thing here, just grab the piece of the pipe, do a group on them, and just mirror it over. Okay, so I think the cab is pretty much completely done here. And I think we'll start working on the back framing next that the bed sits on top of. Let's just grab all the pieces here. Okay, and we'll just group this for now and call it cab. Okay, I'm going to hide that, so we'll hide select it. And we'll start working on the back underneath framing here. And it's all, also very simple. We don't have much detail in here at all. It should be pretty quick for us to build. Okay, so we'll start here on these beams that go in the back. And let's maybe just draw out a box in the left view here. Okay, so I'm going to go from this corner here at the back all the way down to about maybe here, just behind the bed. Okay, Okay, we'll give it a little bit of thickness. Let's put our blue shader on it. And we'll just jump into the back view here. Okay, I'm going to switch this to the front now. Okay, we'll select our beam there. And you can kind of see on the back blueprints here, that's the top of it and that's the bottom of it there. Okay, so I'll move this over to about here. Let's adjust the thickness a little bit, make it a little bit thicker. Okay, we'll just kind of center it right here. And we need to adjust the height as well, so let's take that up a little bit more. Let's do about 150 for starters on the height. We'll do 980 on the length. And let's just say -30 for the width, or the height, sorry. Okay, we can adjust this a little bit more if we need to later on. All right, so we'll kind of fit it in right here. And these are basically just simple I-beams in the back here. So let's convert this to double poly. We'll go into edge, let's grab the 4 edges here, vertical ones. Do a connect on that with 2 segments, and we'll just take the pinch up here. Let's do about 80 or so, and okay. And then we just want to extrude these out on the sides here. All right, so let's grab them in the back view. Grab all the polygons. Hold down Alt, we'll deselect the middle ones, and we'll go vertical on it as well. So we just have the 4 polygons selected. Okay, and I'll just extrude this out. And we'll take it up a little bit more. Let's do about 18 or so, and okay. Okay, so a pretty simple beam here. Let me just hide those blueprints for a second. And we will probably turbo smooth this piece, even though it's really not that necessary because you can't really see it, but I'm going to do it anyways. Okay, so we'll go back into edge and we'll just add some support here. Okay, so let's grab an edge right here, as well as the same one on the other side, and the 2 same ones at the bottom. And we'll just ring those. Okay, another connect with 2 segments, and let's just do about 80, that looks about right. So hit OK to that. We also want to add some side to side here, so let's grab an edge here and here, ring those around, and the same thing, connect it up. And for this one, I'll take the pinch down a little bit more. Let's do about 65 or so on the pinch with 2 segments, and OK. And in the center here, we'll do this. So connect that up with 2 segments as well. And we'll slide these ones up so it's a little bit more sharp at the top. Let's do about 97 or so. Okay, and we also need a couple of vertical ones here. Okay, so do a ring that way, another connect, and we can dial this back a bit. About 85 or so should be good. Okay, and we need some side to side. So I'm actually just going to grab all the center edges. And I think we'll just give it a couple of extra segments here just to break up the long polygons. All right, so I'm going to right click the spinner for the pinch, and we'll just take up the segments to say 4, and we'll just add 1 support edge around each end. Okay, so let's ring these edges. Another connect with 1 segment, and just slide that down to the end. And 98 or so should be good. Okay, so we'll do the same thing over here. Ring these edges and connect it up, and we'll do that the same amount over here. Okay, that's really all we need to do. This is a really simple piece to build. Okay, so we'll smooth it out. 2 iterations, a nice line. Okay, and everything looks like it's smoothing correctly, so that'll pretty much be the main beams, one of the main beams for the entire back of the truck. Okay, so let's center its pivot point. Go back to the front view here, I'm just going to unhide all. Alright, and we can just hide the cab again. Okay, so just line it up with the blueprints as best you can. And we'll just move the pivot point to the center here. Okay, so go back in the hard tab, effect pivot only, right click the move tool, and 0 out the X. Okay, turn off the button there, and we'll just mirror it over the same way. And don't worry if it's lined up correctly with the blueprints here. Okay, so those are the main two beams that run down the back of the truck. I also had a couple of cross beams in here, which we'll just make using a copy of one of these. Alright, so I'm just going to center the pivot point here. Go up to rotate. Make sure you have your rotate angle snaps on. And we'll just hold down shift and rotate a copy of this 90 degrees. And choose copy and OK. Alright, and in left view here, I'm just going to scale this down. Okay, so we'll scale it down a bit. We don't need it to be too big. Let's do about, say, 50 or so on the XYZ. And we'll just move this up and set it right underneath that top extrusion. Okay, and I think we could probably make these a little bit thicker, the top and bottom tabs. So I'm just going to turn off the turbo smooth for a second. We'll drop it back down to vertex, and we'll just grab these vertices here, as well as the ones at the bottom. Okay, and we'll just move that down on the Y to thicken it up a little bit more. Okay, and we'll see how that looks. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So we obviously need to make it a little bit thinner. Just going to move this over to the right a bit. And we'll just butt the left side up there, slightly intersecting the bigger beam. Okay, I'm just going to delete the turbo smooth for a second. And let's go to vertex. Let's grab all these verts down to here. Okay, actually let's deselect those ones. Okay, we'll delete these 4 rows right here, and then we'll just grab this and stretch it down to the other side. Okay, so just across the center like that, we can center the pivot point as well. And we don't need to have obviously any end polygons because they're inside the beams. Okay, so we'll put our turbo smooth back on now with iterations, and we'll see how this looks. Okay, I think it could be a little bit thinner. Just going to scale it slightly on the X. Okay, that's good enough. Alright, so I'm just going to grab these pieces, hide those blueprints, and we'll just make a couple of copies of the smaller beam. Okay, so in the top view here, I'm just going to move this over to the side for a second. And let's maybe grab a line, and we'll just draw that out from one end of the beam to the other, and then right click to end it. And let's just move this over, and we'll just zero out the X spinner down here so that we know it's in the center of the truck. Could also move it up a bit here. Okay, so we'll put it pretty much in the center of the 2 beams, and we'll just use the spacing tool to copy this around. Okay, so select the smaller beam there, we'll go up to Tools, down to Spacing Tool, go to Pick Path, we'll pick that spline we just put in there, and let's maybe take the count up a little bit more. Let's maybe do 5 on the count, and we want these to be copies here. And then hit Apply and Close. We can delete the original as well as the spline. And then we'll just grab these copies here and just adjust the position. Okay, let's move it up so it's sitting underneath the top piece here. And just make sure that it's pretty much centered in between these 2 pieces. Okay, just like that. And in the top here, we'll just move this end beam here down a bit so it lines up at the end. And the same thing down here at the back. Let's move this up for now. I'm probably going to have to push it up a little bit farther later on when we have the other pieces in here, but we'll just leave it like this for now. Okay, so let's maybe just grab these pieces and we'll unhide all again. Okay, let's get rid of the cab. So let's hide that again. And we'll start working on the next beam, which is at the back where the tail lights are. Alright, this is also pretty simple to build. Let's grab another box and we'll just draw this out from side to side here. Okay, so we'll start right here on the corner on the left and just take it all the way to the other side, and we'll take it up to about there. Okay, we'll give it a little bit of thickness, and we'll just zero out the x-axis. Okay, and we'll go to the left view here, and let's just move that to the back. Okay, and this is it right here on the blueprints. It's a little hard to see, but it's right there. All right, so let's push this over like this. Push it up a little bit, and we'll just convert it to double poly and adjust the width by hand. All right, so I'm gonna make this a lot thicker. Okay, let's also add a segment here because we have the top that's kind of flared out. All right, so I'm gonna grab all the vertical edges, do another connect with one segment, and we'll just move this up to the top, about there. Let's go into polygon, and we'll just grab these 4 polys here. Okay, and don't select the top one, just the ones around the top edge. Okay, and we'll just extrude this out, and we'll do it by local normal. And it looks like 10 is about the right amount to line up with our blueprints. So we'll say OK to that. Let's put the blue shader on there. And I'm just going to hit Alt Q here to go into isolation mode for a second. Okay, so we will turbo smooth this piece as well. And if you don't want to have such a high poly count, you can just chamfer it down. But I'm not really worried about the poly count here, so we'll just turbo smooth it like the rest of the pieces. Let's get rid of these top edges first. So I'm going to grab that top polygon. Let's control click edge, and we'll just grow it once. Okay, so we have these corner edges selected as well as these 4 around the top. And let's do control backspace on that to remove it. And now we can just add a few support edges using the same techniques as before. So we'll start here, rigging this edge, connect it up with 2 segments, and we'll just push those out a bit. Let's do about maybe 90 on it. And we'll do the same thing this way. Connect that up, and just take that up. About 99 or so should be good, and okay. And the same thing side to side here. So this corner edge, another connect, and we can dial this one back quite a bit. Let's do about 40. Also be sure to get the one underneath here. So we'll do a ring on this corner edge and another connect, and we'll just do that about 40 as well. And the same thing here on the side edges. Okay, so we'll pinch that up. Let's actually just do one segment here with no pinch, and we'll just slide this down to the bottom. We want the top to be a little bit sharper than the bottom, so we'll just do one at a time. Let's take that down. Let's do about -93 on that one, and then we'll ring the corner edge again and connect it up, and we'll put this one up at the top. Okay, about -99 again, should be good. Okay, we'll also add a couple of additional segments just in the middle to break up the long polygons. Okay, so no pinch, no slide, and we'll just do 4 segments again. And okay. And we'll put turbo smooth on 2 iterations and see how it looks. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's exit isolation mode, and we'll just figure out where we want to put this. I think we're pretty much in the right position here. Okay, we'll leave it right about there. Okay, we are going to leave it going right through these 2 main beams. You could cut it out if you really wanted to, but I don't think that's really necessary on this particular model. Okay, so we'll leave it like that, but we do have that smaller cross beam on the inside here. Okay, so we'll select that, and we'll just move it out. Okay, we're just going to slightly put that just a little bit away from the main beam. Okay. And that should pretty much take care of the framing for the major part of it. We also have a couple of small supports here that you can kind of see on the blueprints that just go from the main beam to this back piece. So let's do those now. And they're going to be really simple, just a couple of really small boxes. Okay, so let's grab another box and we'll just draw it out here on the blueprint. And I'm going to make it quite a bit longer than we need. maybe something like that, and we'll just give it a little bit of thickness. And let's actually make it square here, so I'm just going to do 13 by 13 on the length and height. And we'll go into the top view. Okay, we'll put our blue shader on that one. And let's just move it over here. And we'll go to rotate. Okay, so turn on your angle snaps and rotate it 45 degrees like that. Okay, and we'll just figure out where you need this to be. Just gonna move it back a bit. A little bit more forward maybe. Okay, so we'll do something maybe like that. Okay, and let's maybe just trim it up a bit. So let's go in and convert it to editable poly. And we'll go back to quick slice here, and I'm just going to slice it off inside the beam. So right about here. We'll also slice it off down here at this side. So just cut it straight across there. And then jump into polygon and just select those end polygons on each side and delete them. Alright, and we can just give these edges a quick chamfer, so I'm just going to grab all 4 of them. And we'll chamfer that down. And we'll just do about 1, that looks fine. Okay, so pretty simple for that. Let's center the pivot point as well. Okay, and we need another copy of it. So we'll just shift drag it down in the left view on the Y to right about here as a copy. And we'll just select both these pieces and flip them over to the other side. Alright, so let's just group that quick. We'll center the pivot point and then zero it out on the x-axis and mirror it over as a copy. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. And we're going to need a few of these later on that go underneath the back here, as you can see on the blueprints there. But we'll do that after we get the back piece in.